No matter what social class a student comes from, they have to decide whether they can afford to go to college and further their education or not. As a first generation independent college student, I can say firsthand there's a constant battle between providing for myself outside of school and receiving financial aid to assist me with my school cost. My name is Amber Markin, and today I want to answer the question, should the student's financial background influence the amount of financial aid that they earn when they are financially independent? I hope to persuade you to see that students' financial background should not prevent them from receiving financial aid when the student is also considered to be financially independent. So today I'm just going to share with you the average cost of attendance to a university and also how much that student will get to go to that university in financial aid, how many students are financially independent and how that creates barriers within that student's life, and then what outcomes would be allowed if financially independent students had access to more financial aid. So now that we've introduced the topic, we can begin to dig a little deeper on the hard facts on the cost of attendance of college and financial aid offered. College is expensive for everyone. Let's just be honest. According to Justin Song in The Average Cost of College in America on February 13th of 2020, the average cost of attendance for the 2017-2018 school year was $21,000 for in-state and close to $47,000 for out-of-state. That's a lot of money, guys. Financial aid offers also vary from school to school, so you're not going to get as much from one school to the next, and they're based around race, gender, age, marital status, and dependency. According to the article, How Much Money Can You Get from FAFSA from withfrank.org on March 20 of 2020, only 3% of students receive a full ride to college, so they got to get it paid somehow. And some schools don't offer as much financial aid as other schools. According to the article, What is the Average Financial Aid Package for First-Year Students, found on greatvaluecolleges.net, a student with a family in need could receive as much as $28,000 in financial aid from a school, and other students could only receive about $13,000. So that's a really big gap right there. We've kind of seen firsthand how much college is and how much financial aid really depends on the school and the person. So we can begin to look at the barriers that financially independent students are starting to face when they go to college. So as a student, you must file the FAFSA application in order to receive financial aid. This is based off the last year's income tax, and according to the eligibility requirements from studentaid.gov on February 1st of 2020, you must be enrolled full-time, and that is 12 credit hours or more, not be on default on any loans and student loans, and be enrolled as a regular student in an eligible degree or certificate program in order to even receive financial aid from the government. This means that if a student is financially independent, that means that they're working full-time, working part-time, and they can't meet the 12-hour requirement, then they will not receive any financial aid support. According to Matt Carter in Average Student Loan Debt Statistics on April of 2020, 43 million students had to take out loans in 2019 to go to school. 2.8 million of those students owe $100,000 or more, guys. That is huge. So that just shows that the less financial aid a student receives, the more the student loans that student has to take out. That's huge, which puts them in an overall higher debt, and the average student has to take out even more debt just to be able to go to school and further themselves. The Federal Student Loan Repayment Plan is a 10-year plan. So this is a long-term debt that these students are going into, guys. Scholarships through school and the federal government are based on financial needs. So if you take an independent student who's working full-time, they're not going to have as much financial need as, say, a dependent student is going to, because they are bringing that income in. And that does make a drastic difference in an independent financial student's life. Now that we see the barriers that financial independent students face, we're able to see how not basing financial aid on their income can benefit those students. So we would be able to reduce student loan debt and give a better quality of life to a student who is financially independent if we allowed them to qualify for more financial aid instead of having to take out student loans. According to the article Poverty Guideline from aspe.hhs.gov on March 5th of 2020, a person working minimum wage only brings about $15,000 to $16,000 a year home. That's for 40 hours a week, guys. This is not even enough to pay for what you need in a normal life, let alone paying for school and loans on top of this. According to Matt Carter in Average Student Loan Debt Statistics on April of 2020, the average monthly student loan payment is $393. That's as much as a house payment, guys. People cannot afford to do both. Students must pay these loans beginning at a minimum to 6 months after graduation or immediately following dropping out of school. Financial aid that student does not have to pay back allows for students to live independently without the worry of having to pay for their education. They will not have to choose between making it in their day-to-day life and going to school to further their future and getting a better education. Equal opportunity for financial aid would be beneficial to our independent students who must work in order to survive. So in conclusion, a student's financial aid background should not prevent them from receiving financial aid when the student is also considered to be financially independent, because they're not able to afford it all. That's pretty simple. It leads to students having to choose between working to sustain themselves and affording to go to school, when this should definitely not be the case. We shouldn't have to worry about making it in life and furthering ourselves. So just to kind of go over our main points again, college is expensive for everyone, and financial aid is harder to get than what you would think that it is. Independent students are facing barriers that force them to choose between sustaining themselves and furthering their education. And we can increase the overall quality of life in an independent student by allowing more access to financial aid and reducing stress, therefore. Just to kind of wrap everything up, I hope that I've shown you just how much help every student needs. I mean, we're students and we can use all the help that we can get, especially when they do not have dependability or support of their family to help them financially through college. This is a problem that needs to be addressed right now so that we can help our students become the best versions of themselves possible without placing these pressures and barriers on them from the get-go. Thank you.